what's going on. The time of the month where I do my monthly recap, and this time around we're going to be doing the recap for the month of June. In this recap, I'm going to be going over what went well, what I can improve on, and the things that I'm going to be doing moving forward in my trading career and the rest of this year. So let's get into it. So for the month of June, I had a P&L of $2,412 and some change, and a bulk of that P&L came in the first week as I was working on an evaluation account and I was sizing up a bit with these contracts every time I was trading. Um, so that's why we see the minus 1.2, 2.2, to around 2.1K trades, and it was around a 3K week just based off these three trades alone. Um, and the one thing that I do want to note is there is something that registers while I'm trading my eval accounts that that I'm kind of just like missing during my funded trading accounts, which I'm trying to figure out. Because time and time again, I'm able to pass these evals while I'm making these 2K trade, 1K trades, and 3K weeks. And then when I get to my funded accounts, I am moving a little bit more conservatively, and I start to overanalyze, or I start taking less trades, or I'm just um, kind of moving a bit timid and I'm second guessing myself. So that's something that I'm currently working on, going from eval to funded. I currently have two funded accounts right now. Both of them are in a bit of drawdown, but I started copy trading them both on the 11th. Started off with a $300 loser, and then reevaluated the next day. Didn't take any trades, and then kind of just slowly trying to get out of that drawdown and ultimately taking some more losses before ending the month with a small green day, with around $176. So it's copy traded by two accounts. So this comes out to 176 times two, and so forth with the rest of these numbers. Um, but this is the review that I go through every single month. I do this monthly, and then I just take the same template and I make it a weekly template for me to do as well. Once I'm done with my trading week for the week, so we can see the P&L was $2,412.60, an overall risk to reward of 3.02R. The win rate is 33%. Um, my goal for my win rate moving forward, like throughout the rest of the year and pretty much throughout my career, is I want to really be in that like 50 to 60% ballpark of win rate, because I know that um, I don't like right now my win rate is low, so I need to let trades run more. And if I have the win rate of 50 to 60%, and I'm also learning how to let my trades run more, then I'll have the win rate where I'm winning more often, and then I'm also going to have larger winners as well. Um, the max drawdown was $1,279.20. My best day being $2,209, and my worst day being $1,279.20. And my total trading days were 10 days. The thing that I want to note with the total trading days right here is that this is a significant improvement in my trading, because where we can see in previous months, I was trading almost every day and I was taking multiple trades per day. Whereas these are kind of just like one trade per day, two trades per day, and the occasional like rare three trades per day or four trades per day where I was scalping for the evaluation account. So the total trading days of 10 days is something that I am proud of, and that I will continue to lean on, because I understand that I don't need to trade every day because my setups just aren't there every single day. So that's something that I'm going to continue to work on. And then as far as risk management, this number is a little bit skewed just because of the stats being both combined with the eval account and the funded account. So I took the risk per trade from my funded accounts, which I do 250 per trade. During the eval account, since I do have a drawdown of $2,500, I do just risk the max loss for the day of $1,000. So I would have to lose two trades in a row or two and a half trades in a row for me to lose the evaluation account. So for my funded accounts, I do the max loss, which is $1,000 per day. And then on the funded accounts, I'm only risking $250 per trade because I know that with this number right here, with the 250, it's a very conservative number. I know that with my 33% win rate, I need to lose. I need to lose multiple times in a row for me to lose that account. So especially when this win rate is only at 33%, I'm only going to be risking between the $200 and $250 range with my funded accounts until this number gets up into that 50 or 60% range, where I can start risking more in that like $300, $400, $500 range as my win rate grows and as the account gets more of a buffer. So the average win per trade was $806.39. The largest single trade win was $2,561.10. The average loss per trade was $230.86. The largest single trade loss was $938.90. In the month of June, I had no trades exceeding max risk, where it was the max loss. I had one max loss day on the funded account, but I'm just regarding this number right here with the funded account. I had no trades exceeding max loss. So the part that I used to be getting in trouble with was I would take my correct risk parameters of $200 and $250 per trade, but on losing days, I would take 4 or 5 trades, and then that's where these numbers would get up to the max loss day. Whereas with these, you can see that I'm only risking, like, this is a $48 loser, $60 loser, $190 loser. Even on the $400 losing trade, we have $188 and $225. So these were more of like max losses for like the trade itself, the amount that I wanted to risk per trade for itself. So on these trades, I'm kind of just like moving my stop loss to break even or moving my stop loss into profit as the trade goes in my favor. But there's no trades in here really where I'm like losing straight $300 in a day or in a trade. So that's one thing that I'm just gonna like continue to be proud about and continue to hone in on, is having that max like risk management, like very good risk management in place. Um, did I follow my risk limits? Yes, I did. For this month, I did a great job following my risk limits. I did not have any max losses, and I did not over leverage any single trade. Did I move my stop loss to break evens? Kind of just went into that saying that like no singular trade was a $300 loss or a $400 loss. Were there unnecessary over leverage trades? No, there wasn't any. And then this is where I'm going to get into my executions a bit. So the primary setup that I've been working on is I've really been honing in on determining the weekly bias, if it's bullish or bearish, and then having the higher time frame alignment that goes with the expansion profile of the weekly bias. So if we are bullish on the week, I'm looking for the profile on like the 4 hour and the 15 minute and the 1 minute to also line up with that. So we can see here I have the weekly bias, 4 hour liquidity sweeps, and then the internal setup. And then this right here was the trade of the month for me. Despite I believe this one was a realized gain of $2,170.96. We can see that the profile was bullish for the week. We just tested this daily order block right here, and then price had closed back into this Thursday range, this price legs range right here that displaced back into this order block. So we had the closure back into this range, and then the following day the closure through and displacing into the range as well. So we can see we had the sell side sweep internally. So now since we're bullish in the weekly profile, I'm looking for sweeps from sell side. I'm looking for support to be held on order blocks. I'm looking for fair value gaps to be held in the bullish direction, so in an uptrend. So we had the sell side liquidity sweep on the 1 hour chart. and then displacement back into the range. And then shortly after market open, we had this 15-minute order block with the sell side liquidity objective resting above. And then we had the test of that 15-minute order block right here, and then a change in the state of delivery that ultimately got us to the uh, overnight sell side or buy side liquidity level. So that's the trade of the week, that or the trade of the month, and this is kind of the um, playbook that I am really trying to hone in on. I'm really trying to hone in on having a concrete plan based on the weekly objectives, so I know which way to operate and how to maneuver through these levels in the weekly bias, so I know like that I'm on the right side of the market, because all of my trades and all of my losses, they all come when I'm just like wrong on the bias. Um, I know what my setup looks like when it's presented, like the setup itself, like the entry confirmations. But where I get myself in trouble is I enter at places where the market is reversing or like my bias is just wrong. So what I'm really trying to hone in on is understanding the weekly bias. Where is the market expanding to? Are we in a consolidation phase on a higher time frame? Are we in expansion phase on the higher time frame? Are we reversing? These are all things that I am looking to really make my focus and my main objective moving forward in the coming months and the rest of this year. Um, so my average trade hold time was 11 minutes. So that's telling me that I'm either exiting trades quickly or I am entering trades and they're just working to target immediately. I'm going through the expansion phase and they're just meeting the objectives quickly. Um, FOMO, hesitation, and over trading. I would say this month, in the month of June, I really didn't have any FOMO or hesitation in trading. I feel like I did a good job of regulating my emotions because I started to implement a emotional temperature tracker during my trading hours. So basically, what it is I have a template that I created, and it goes from 8:30 all the way to noon. So it's 8:30 to 9 o'clock, 9 o'clock to 9:30, so on and so forth until 12 o'clock. And every half hour, I'll check in and just regulate my emotions. Have I taken any trades? What am I currently seeing in the market? Um, what are my emotions like? Do I have any FOMO? Is the market moving without me and I'm feeling some type of way about it? Did I just take a loss and I need to step back and reevaluate my emotions? Just things like that. And I can honestly say having this temperature checker that I do during the trading sessions has helped me tremendously from over trading, from understanding my emotions, like from A to Z. It's helped me so much. So because I implemented that, I did not this month feel a lot of FOMO, hesitation, and over trading. I prevented that very well. Uh, when I hit profit targets? Yes, I did hit profit targets when my trades worked in profit. I allowed them to go to profit. I allowed them to go to target. And then the only time I was not able to go to target, obviously, is when those trades got stopped at break even, and even when the or break even or when they got stopped at their predetermined stop loss. But what I will say is, even when they didn't go to target and I did get stopped out, one thing I pride myself in is cutting the trade when the trade is invalid. When the thesis is invalid, I will never move my stop loss lower. I will never dollar cost average back into a losing trade. If it's a loser, it's a loser. I'll take the L and then reevaluate to see if there's any setups that are happening further in the day. But never going to move my stop loss lower below or above an invalidation point. I'm never going to do that. Were you consistent in executions? Yes. Once the lower time frame aligned with the higher time frames, all of my entries were consistent. There were a few times this month when I entered my trades prematurely, but I was able to fix those problems after my hourly check-ins. I followed up by making sure I had all confirmations before entry. So this is something that I'm still currently working on, is having the proper confirmation on the lower time frame after all of my higher time frame confirmations are met. So what I mean by that is I will have the proper like sweeps to sell side, I'll have the proper higher time frame alignment. But a lot of my paper cuts and a lot of my losses do come when I don't have the literal last step of the lower time frame confirmation. So I have the sweep of sell side or the sweep of buy side, and then I'm waiting for a change in the state of delivery on the 1 minute. There are times where I catch myself entering before there's a change in the state of delivery on the 1 minute, and therefore we're not technically ready to roll over or bounce. So I'm entering prematurely, and I'm trying to force order flow to be something that I want it to be instead of what it's showing me currently. Um, so that's something that I'm currently working on still, is waiting for the proper confirmations on the lower time frame after I get my higher time frame alignment confirmations. Um, I would say my discipline this month was great. I knew exactly what I was looking for in the higher time frames, and because of that, I was able to maintain discipline and patience until my system was presented. A big part of my system and a big part of my trading is um, making predetermined plans in the pre-market. So I will watch for what I'm looking for in a pre-market, write out an entire plan, um, and just wait patiently to see if that sets up. And if it doesn't set up, I'm not going to trade. I'm not going to take the trade for the day. I'm just going to continue to read price action and watch price action to see if something develops. And if nothing develops, then just not taking the trade for the day. Where your entries and exits align with your strategy. Kind of went over that already with consistent executions, with stop loss placements and profit targets being hit. Did you chase trades or enter on confirmations? Went over that as well. Did you follow your predefined plan? Yes, every morning I wrote out a pre-market plan and made sure to follow that plan. When I have a clear road map, I'm going into the morning, it is easier for me to remain disciplined. And then the trading psychology, I went over this as well, kind of with the emotional tracker that I implemented into my trading at the beginning of last month, at the beginning of June, has helped me tremendously with the way that my psychology is during trading hours, after wins, after losses. It's helping with my discipline. It's helping me stick to my trading hours because I have that template only for a certain amount of time. It's helping me take breaks after losses and recognize how I'm feeling, being able to regulate my emotions. I'm able to execute with confidence because I understand that I have my psychology right and I'm regulating my emotions. So I'm able to think properly, where in previous months, I quite literally felt myself blacking out as soon as a 9:30 bell happened because I was just thinking, and I really never gave myself the chance to step back and regulate my emotions. So my trading psychology was great this month, and this is the biggest part for me. Is the improvement in action plans. So what went well for me this month was the higher time frame analysis. My analysis of the higher time frame was good this month. With the exception of 1 week where I was wrong on the weekly buys, my higher time frame analysis was spot on. I was able to plot areas where I expected price to reject and wait patiently. Another thing was my emotions. With the emotional tracker, I was able to regulate my emotions very well this month. And this was the first month kind of in a while that I felt like I was more process driven based on my system instead of seeing the result of P&Ls. I feel like when I am following my process and kind of just like going with my system and having like an organized train of thought, that's when I feel the best, even on red days. I'm noticing that when I execute and I lose, but I'm sticking to my plan, I'm okay with that red day. The problem that I have is when I deviate from my plan and then have a red day. That's where I kind of will take a step back and say, hey, this needs to change because this wasn't in the plan. But if I'm following my plan, then it's okay if I have a losing day because everyone has a losing day. But if you have a red day based on you not following your plan and just throwing it completely out the window, that's completely different. So all in all, very process-driven days, and that helped me with basically my emotions as well. Um, so what needs to improve on, kind of like what I was saying earlier, my entry timing, waiting for the proper 1 minute change in the state of delivery after I've gotten all the other previous confirmations that I need to have. Risk management was something as well that I wanted to focus on this month as well. Um, One thing that I did note, despite my losers being small this month, some of these were uh, not the proper risk. Like this trade risk right here was only $69, where I'm supposed to be risking $250 per trade on my funded accounts. Let's see, another trade that I took was like this 150, this trade for 155 right here. I risked $97 this trade. This was a winner that I got $154.60 from, but I was supposed to risk $250. So if I risked that $250, then I would have been up. Let's see, this was a 2.3 hour trade, so it would have been up $500. I know I'm not supposed to be P&L focused, but if we're talking about having a better month or a green month when I get on the funded account, risking the correct amount, and then also letting my winners run. When I start to have these strings of losing trades, I have a buffer because I let that one winning trade run, and two, I risked my proper amount. But because I only risked $97 and I got back 156, I was supposed to have 500. The next week, I had a $400 loser, but I still would have been in profit if I had the correct risk management for these trades. So that is something that I'm also working on is having my correct standardized risk. Um, that's I'm working on having my correct standardized risk. Sorry, OBS for whatever reason stops working after a long period of time. So I was saying that I'm working on my standardized risk of risking $250 per trade, so I can have the correct amount with the buffer to account for losing trades, since I only have a 33% win rate this month. Um, Weekly and daily buys. Although I had a firm grasp on the buys for the weeks, I still want to continue to become the best I can at identifying the weekly and daily buys. Like I was saying in the beginning of this video, this is going to be very important for me moving forward because I'm going to be able to create a proper roadmap of how I want to operate during the trading sessions. Um, so my plans for next month are typically always going to go off of what needs improvement because these are the biggest things that I see in my trading that could possibly propel me forward to have better months. So I'm going to be working on my entry timing. I'm going to be working on having a standardized risk management of $250 per trade. And then the weekly and daily buys is going to be going along with the education that I'm going to be planning on doing. Just studying every day, back testing for an hour or two a day, going through my best winners, like what worked well with those winners. I'm just going to be reverse engineering things. And then overall, I wrote that I feel great about this month. I was disciplined, patient, developed a system around the higher time frames, and respected my trading rules. Due to having a system and following it, I was able to have a very profitable month and make great strides in my trading. When I continue to perform in this disciplined manner, my goals are extremely achievable. The two biggest things for me this month are being process driven over P&L driven and focusing on one PD array on the higher time frames. Simplifying the system will allow me to be more clean, to be more calm. I am grateful for my performance this month. This P&L was created through discipline, patience, and the foundation of system. Moving forward, I will continue to regulate my emotions and refine the system. And so that is how I feel moving forward. I truly feel like moving forward, if I continue to be process driven, if I continue to refine my system and simplify it as much as possible, then my equity curve is honestly just going to go higher and higher. So the last thing that I'm going to say that I implemented is being in the Tactical Trader mentorship with Justin. He has a bot that is basically just incorporated with all of his knowledge. And I use this bot after every single trade when I do my trade reviews, my performance reviews, my monthly reviews, my psychology reviews. I always use this bot So basically, what I do is I put the performance review into the chat GPT of Justin's brain pretty much. And then I work on, and then it walks me through what I did well, what I didn't do well, and then some action plans for this month. So overall, the monthly P&L was $2,412. Um, the bot says that's great. The strengths were I built asymmetric returns with systems, pro level thinking. Something to watch out for is your profit now. But if your RR distribution slips on your forced mediocre trades, trying to fix the win rate, the whole system collapses. Um, so basically, what I was saying, um, the emotional control. The bot agreed that my emotional control this month was great. Something to work on. The minor signs of impatience from jumping the gun early on the 1 minute change in the state of deliveries. Um, Execution discipline. Same thing. Saying the weaknesses. You're still getting triggered by micro movements on the lower time frames. The itch to get in early, even after higher time frame bias is needs to be eliminated. You got the playbook. Just wait for the check boxes to pull the trigger. Um, Risk management, going over the same thing that I said, working on standardized risk, decision making. One vulnerability is rushing entries, kind of with the same thing with the execution discipline. So then the summary is the elite level RR with discipline to let winners run, emotionally detached and process oriented, honest self review and adaptive mid month corrections. The weaknesses, impatience on lower time frames, inconsistent use of standardized risk per trade, still maturing in higher time frame bias reading, especially refining the weekly daily draw of clarity. So, and this is where I'm pretty much going to be having all of my focus going into the July. Um, Entry timing drills, exercise changing the state of delivery confirmations or lockout rules. After higher time frame has been established, mandate a 1 minute change in the state of delivery with the closure plus retest before entry. Creating a checklist. If all threes aren't checked, then no trade. Standardized risk protocol, routine nightly sizing audit. Create a simple spreadsheet, trade size, account balance, percentage risk, and dollar risk. Every trade must show $250 risk until profit reaches $1,000 on funded accounts. Then I can bump up to $300, no exceptions. Higher time frame calibration sessions, weekly practice every Sunday before market opens. Do a top-down analysis. This is kind of like what I'm doing already with the pre-market routine with my write-ups. Daily routine additions, half-hourly emotional check-ins. I should keep them. Suggesting add pre-trade patience prompt, and then add daily execution rating, which I'm already doing within that temperature check. I graded A through F, so that's what I'm doing already. And then the final thoughts. This month was a win. No matter how you slice it, you made money without over trading, without deviating from your plan, and with mental clarity. That's the part nobody talks about. July isn't about doing more. It's about doing exactly what worked, only cleaner, tighter, and with more reps. So overall, that is the monthly review for the month of June. And moving forward, I'm very excited. The funded accounts are on a bit of drawdown right now, but I'm looking forward to learning from my mistakes and moving forward. I'm still very excited for this journey. Still very much looking forward to learning from my mistakes, and kind of just practicing that persistence that I have to make this thing work. I know I can make it work. I know I'm turning the corner. I know for a fact things are clicking more and more every single day. It's just a matter of staying calm, staying persistent, staying process oriented, and not driven by the P&L, red or green. If I'm green, it's not a matter of being too high, and if I'm red, it's not a matter of being too low and telling myself that I suck. It's being more so focused on the process and what I need to do that's within my system that I know results in good trading days. So that is the month of June, and I will check in with another monthly performance review when July is over.